What if I told you there are characters hidden throughout the lore of Marvel Rivals that we haven't seen yet? We've already seen characters like Daredevil, Emma Frost, and Angela make the leap from lore mentions to playable heroes. So the question is, who's next? In today's video, we're diving into the subtle hints, clues, and references that could reveal the next wave of potential heroes coming to the world of Marvel Rivals. With such a massive list of potential characters, we'll be breaking each one down in their own section. And remember, this video is purely speculative, based on what we can gather from in-game lore and subtle hints. With that being said, let's kick things off with our first potential hero, Ghost Rider. When the new map Heart of Heaven in Kunlun was introduced, it came loaded with Easter eggs from Iron Fist's corner of the Marvel Universe. From Lausa, Angela's sister, cradled in a protective sphere under the watchful eye of Linlier, to murals of the immortal beasts and legendary Iron Fists of the past, the map is filled to the brim of references. One mural in particular stands out. It features Fan Fei, the first Iron Fist, alongside her legendary team, the Avengers of 1 million BC. This prehistoric lineup of Earth's mightiest heroes banded together to defeat a celestial swarm, and it included Firehair, the first mutant and avatar of the Phoenix, Odin Borson, the Allfather of Asgard, Agamotto, the demigod sorcerer supreme, Mosey, the Black Panther of the Panther tribe, Starbrand, the planetary defense system, and finally, Ghost, the very first Ghost Rider and Spirit of Vengeance. Interestingly, Mosey has already been added to the game as a Black Panther cosmetic. That suggests the other members of this ancient team could follow suit. Agamotto for Strange, Odin for Thor, Firehair for Phoenix, Fan Fei for Iron Fist, and there's one member with no modern counterpart in Rivals yet, Ghost Rider. For anyone unfamiliar, the Ghost Riders are human hosts bonded with the spirit of vengeance, granting them supernatural powers of nearly divine scale. Their origins are mysterious. Some say they're fragments of God's power, others claim they're demons serving Mephisto. Regardless, their abilities are described as boundless and godlike, limited only by the imagination of their human hosts. But if the spirit were to take full control, the results are said to be biblically catastrophic. Now, one of the community's biggest concerns is whether Ghost Rider could even make it into Rivals due to Chinese content restrictions surrounding skeletal designs. But here's the clever part. The mural depicts Ghost Rider fully engulfed in flames with the skull shape largely obscured. This could be a creative workaround that allows NetEase to honor the character's essence while staying within regulations. Ghost Rider is a highly requested fan favorite pick who would make a perfect Vanguard in my opinion, and this mural might just be our first real hint that the Spirit of Vengeance could ride his way into Marvel Rivals. With so many cosmetics introduced over time, it can be tricky to figure out which ones are actually, quote, canon, unquote. In the world of Marvel Rivals where the Chronoverse and the multiverse collide, the possibilities of different hero variants fighting each other are infinite. Because of that, I don't want to dismiss the flavor text of some cosmetics too quickly. Take Luna Snow's Minty Beats default recolor for example. Its description says, "Got a wild invite from Douglas Ramsey today to perform on Krakoa, but he said to dress like mint chocolate chip ice cream since it's the giant living island's favorite flavor." This cosmetic was available all the way back in Season 0, yet it referenced Krakoa, which didn't become a playable map until Season 2 and 2.5. That level of planning shows how far ahead the developers are thinking, and the mention of Douglas Ramsey, better known as Cypher, is worth paying attention to. Cypher is a mutant with the cerebral ability to understand any language, whether spoken, written, or even binary code. He can literally rewrite machines through verbal commands, and when he merged with the techno-organic alien known as Warlock, he gained shapeshifting and enhanced physical abilities. In the comics, Cypher was essential to the founding of Krakoa's mutant nation. He built the interface that allowed mutants to live on the island, created the Krakoan language itself, and even earned a seat on the Quiet Council alongside figures like Charles Xavier, Magneto, Apocalypse, Storm, Emma Frost, and more. Speculating on his potential role in game has so many possibilities. It's likely NetEase would use his Douglock form, the merged Warlock Cypher combo, which could make him a strong strategist or DPS. His language manipulation and techno-organic shapeshifting could make for some incredibly unique gameplay, and with Marvel Rivals' creative team, the possibilities are endless. Now, while some lore hints in Marvel Rivals are subtle, there are others that are a bit more obvious. One of the clearest examples is the fate of Danny Rand, which we covered in depth in a previous video, so if you haven't seen that breakdown yet, definitely go check it out. In short, Danny has been confirmed to have ascended into Valhalla after a brief encounter with Angela in Hell, where he pointed her towards Kunlun, setting in motion the events of Season 4 and 4.5. While Danny may currently reside in the afterlife within the Rivals timeline, his story in the main 616 comics have taken a surprising turn. As of 2025, Danny Rand has returned from the dead in the ongoing Undead Iron Fist storyline, a new arc that sees him revived temporarily to fulfill a mysterious mission. What's especially interesting is that Rivals Danny and 616 Danny ended up in two entirely different afterlives, which leaves the door wide open for the creative team to reinterpret his comeback in their own way. In terms of gameplay, many of you left comments on my last video with ideas and speculations about what kind of role Danny could fill if introduced as his own character, separate from the current Iron Fist. His fighting style is significantly different, which gives the devs a lot more flexibility. He could be a Vanguard brawler, especially if introduced alongside Luke Cage for a double Vanguard team-up, or even take on a strategist role, channeling his chi to heal and support allies similar to his abilities in the comics, or the recent team-up between Iron Fist and Luna Snow. Meanwhile, there are some characters that are hinted at so subtly that their name or persona isn't directly mentioned. Season 4 introduces a new team-up ability for the mutant magic called Chains of Sidorak, and the mention of Sidorak is anything but a throwaway, as Sidorak is an extra-dimensional being known as a Lord of Oblivion and the Destroyer, worshipped in primitive times as a god and demon before being banished to his own plane of existence. To extend his power on Earth, Sidorak selects a single avatar, enhancing them to become the unstoppable Juggernaut. Cain Marko, better known as Juggernaut, has a long, complicated history as an enemy and sometimes ally of the X-Men. Fueled by his childhood trauma and his rivalry with his stepbrother Charles Xavier, Cain's life led him to eventually discover the Temple of Sidorak, where he became the unstoppable avatar of Sidorak. Over decades, Juggernaut's story spans battles with the X-Men, Spider-Man, Thor, Hulk, and even some cosmic threats. His powers constantly waxing and waning, his allegiance shifting from villain to anti-hero, and his role evolving from unstoppable brute to strategic powerhouse capable of both destruction and teamwork. In the current timeline, Cain's powers have seen him rejoin the X-Men, work with the Thunderbolts, and reclaim his mystical strength from Sidorak, while embracing a more heroic path that includes protecting mutants on Krakoa and aiding Cyclops' team. With such a storied history, Juggernaut would make an incredible addition to Marvel Rivals as a Vanguard character, opening opportunities for tank-style gameplay, heavy crowd control, and devastating team-up abilities unlike anything currently in the game. And I find it hard to believe that they would mention Sidorak without Juggernaut possibly being on the table. Though there are some hints in Marvel Rivals, sometimes as simple as a cosmetic or an ace of spades. Season's 4 Battle Pass gives us a particularly clever nod to a fan-favorite villain, Bullseye. On the MVP screen for Old Man Hawkeye, we see Hawkeye fire an arrow that splits a card in half. At first glance, this might seem like a reference to Gambit, the X-Men's card-wielding specialist, but in all reality, it's a deeper nod to one of Hawkeye's main antagonists in the Old Man Hawkeye storyline, Bullseye. In Old Man Hawkeye, Bullseye is one of the villains responsible for the deaths of numerous superheroes in this dystopian world. He is eventually sent to hunt down Hawkeye, making him a central antagonist in a hunter versus hunter style narrative. This subtle in-game reference may be the first glimpse of Bullseye appearing in Marvel Rivals. If introduced, he would likely serve as a DPS character, potentially offering a mix of projectile or hit scan based abilities and creating natural tension with both Hawkeye and Daredevil that I know we want to see. For fans familiar with the 616 universe, Bullseye is a shadowy assassin with near supernatural accuracy. Little is known about his origins, though his childhood was marked by violence and deceit, and he even briefly pursued a Major League Baseball career, ending it with a single pitch. Bullseye became a freelance assassin, frequently clashing with heroes like Daredevil and Deadpool, and is infamous for killing Elektra with her own size. He has served as a mercenary for the Kingpin, he's joined the Thunderbolts and Dark Avengers, and he's been resurrected and enhanced multiple times by the Hand, defined by his deadly precision and his unpredictable chaotic nature, making him a natural candidate and fan favorite addition for Marvel Rivals. This reference hints at existing possibilities for the game, especially for fans eager to see one of Daredevil's deadliest foes make his mark. Now, while some characters are referenced individually, others are introduced as a pair. Season 4 has introduced new accessories in the game, adding unique features and subtle references to characters we may see in the future. Among these, a new set of plushie highlights the final siblings of Wanda Maximoff, the children of Magneto, Quicksilver, and Polaris. Pietro Maximoff, better known as Quicksilver, is a speedster and the older twin brother of the Scarlet Witch. Over the years, he transitioned from being a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants to joining the Avengers, undergoing a significant redemption arc. Quicksilver even married the Inhuman Crystal and had a daughter named Luna Maximoff. His unique abilities center on super speed and superhuman reflexes, making him a natural candidate for fast, agile combat in Marvel Rivals. Meanwhile, their half-sister Lorna Dane, known as Polaris, has been a prominent member of the X-Men since her early 20s when she was discovered through the use of Cerebro. Much like her father Magneto, she wields magnetic powers, though with unique polarities of her own. In-game references to Polaris have appeared before, including official comic art from the Hellfire Gala in Season 2 and 2.5. The Season 4 plushies continue to acknowledge her presence, keeping her in the conversation for potential future inclusion. While Quicksilver has only been referenced through his plushies so far, both characters are fan favorites and could introduce unique gameplay dynamics. Quicksilver could function as a high-speed DPS, striking quickly and maneuvering around the battlefield with precision, while Polaris could either be a DPS or a strategist, using her magnetic abilities to manipulate the environment and control opponents. Considering Polaris's prior in-canon appearance and the recurring nods to the siblings in the plushies, I think there's a strong possibility that the Magneto family could one day be brought together in the game, creating both a narrative and gameplay-rich addition to the roster. Speaking of the X-Men, there are quite a few who have had individual nods in the game, though one notable figure appears indirectly in the lore of the Phoenix, hinting at his potential importance for future storylines: Scott Summers, better known as Cyclops. In the Phoenix Season 4 entry, Jean Grey reflects on her time away from Krakoa while traveling the cosmos as the host of the Phoenix Force. At first, she maintains a mental connection with her paramour Scott Summers, but that bond is abruptly severed when a temporal storm rips across reality from the time stream entanglement. Suddenly, it is as if Scott and the rest of the X-Men have vanished from the time stream, leaving Jean unable to reach them despite her connection to the Phoenix. Though she later confirms the eventual return of her allies, the lore emphasizes Scott's absence, suggesting that he may have been lost or displaced in a temporal or cosmic event, making his whereabouts unknown even to one of the most powerful forces in the universe. For those unfamiliar, Scott Summers is one of the most iconic mutants of the 616 universe. Gifted with the ability to emit powerful optic blasts from his eyes, he has served as the first X-Man, leader of the X-Men, and a symbol of mutant resilience. Orphaned and raised in the clutches of Mr. Sinister, Scott was rescued by Professor Xavier, who helped him learn control over his powers and guided him toward a path of leadership. Over the years, Cyclops has led countless missions to protect both mutants and humanity, becoming a revolutionary figure in mutant society. He has transformed the X-Men from a team of heroes into a global force fighting for the survival and integration of mutant kind, occasionally even clashing with fellow heroes when necessary to protect his people. Though Cyclops has not yet appeared directly in Marvel Rivals, his mention in Phoenix's lore shows there's possibility for his addition in the future. His unique optic abilities would make him a clear candidate for a DPS role, potentially excelling in ranged combat. Though beyond his raw power, Cyclops embodies strategy and leadership, traits that could also make him a powerful vanguard. The mystery surrounding his current location adds an opening for potential future content, leaving us wondering when and how this iconic X-Men leader might make his debut. Another fascinating nod to Marvel history comes from the 1872 Wild West themed outfit for Hela, which references a hero known as William Talltrees, also called Red Wolf. I actually could go on a huge tangent about this because I love all things Wild West, but I'll keep it short. The 1872 Wild West cosmetics in Marvel Rivals come from Earth 51920, a timeline reshaped after the multiverse collapsed during Secret Wars. In this universe, portions of the old Earth were reconstructed into a Western-themed battle world under the will of God Emperor Doom, with towns like Timely and its surroundings taking on a frontier aesthetic. While the specifics of that story are complex, the cosmetics give us a fun way to see iconic characters reimagined in this alternate setting. But anyways, back to Red Wolf. The Red Wolf mantle, much like Black Panther, is a role bestowed by the god Owayodata, part of a pantheon worshipped by Native American tribes in the West and Southwest. Unlike others who briefly held the mantle, the 616 version of Red Wolf was granted superhuman abilities on par with Black Panther, including enhanced strength, speed, reflexes, and durability, along with an indomitable will capable of resisting telepathy. The in-game reference is found in the flavor text of the Grim Lady cosmetic for Hela, where it says, "Extra, extra, get your timely bulletin. Fear stalks timely, folks. Our new sheriff, Red Wolf, has vanished, gone like a ghost in the dust." This text directly hints at the presence of Red Wolf in the 1872 Wild West timeline, and positions him as a heroic figure whose disappearances sets the stage for conflict. Though his Earth 51920 counterpart is noted as vanished, there's no reason Red Wolf couldn't be introduced as a different variant for the game. His abilities lend themselves naturally to a DPS role, potentially incorporating animal summons or something similar into his gameplay. His appearance in Marvel Rivals would not only honor a lesser known but significant hero in Marvel's lore, but also expand the variety of unique characters and representation for players. Now here's one that might surprise some people. Deep in the Vampire Siege storyline of Season 1 and 1.5, there's a short but telling exchange between Spider-Man and Cloak and Dagger that quietly confirms Morbius exists in the Marvel Rivals universe.
We thought you were a goner after the vampires caught us by the Queensboro Bridge.
Oh, me too. You'll never guess who showed up to save the day. Morbius.
No way.
Things got weirder from there. I'll tell you about it sometime.
This brief moment gives us a surprising amount of information. Not only is Morbius confirmed to exist in the world of Marvel Rivals, he was active during the Vampire Siege, and, more importantly, fought on the side of Spider-Man and the heroes against Dracula's forces. That flips the usual expectation of Morbius as a morally gray or even villainous figure, and positions him as a potential ally in the conflict. For those who do not know his backstory, Michael Morbius was born in Greece with a rare blood disease. He grew up brilliant but isolated, and later became a Nobel Prize-winning scientist alongside his friend Emil Nikos. In a desperate attempt to cure himself, he experimented with vampire bat DNA and electroshock therapy. The procedure worked, but with a horrifying twist, transforming him into a living vampire. Morbius gained enhanced strength, speed, flight, rapid healing, and a need to consume blood to survive. Unlike supernatural vampires, his condition is the result of science, not mysticism, which makes him a unique figure in Marvel's supernatural world. Over the years, he's fought Spider-Man, he's worked with the X-Men, joined the Legion of Monsters, and even acted as a reluctant hero in events like Spider Island and Absolute Carnage. But when it comes to Marvel Rivals, Morbius has a lot of potential. His enhanced speed and flight abilities make him a strong candidate for a DPS role, possibly functioning as a high mobility assassin-type dive character. However, it could also be interesting to see him as a frontline vampire vanguard, leading into his resilience and lifesteal abilities to hold the line for his team. His involvement during the Vampire Siege already hints that he's not just lurking in the shadows, so a future playable appearance feels more like a matter of when than if. While some characters are referenced subtly in the game, very few have multiple points of recognition like Amy Han, the White Fox. Players can spot direct nods to her in the background of Luna Snow's Mirage 2099 skin, where both she and the Agents of Atlas, which is the team that Luna Snow and the current Iron Fist are members of, are referenced. There's also dialogue between Iron Fist and Luna Snow that explicitly mentions the Agents of Atlas, hinting at the potential for these heroes to unite.
Been too long since we did this together, Luna. Ready for an encore?
An Agents of Atlas reunion tour? I don't know.
You can't deny that would be a hot ticket.
Maybe, but I've always preferred the cold.
As well as a White Fox plushie in the new set of collectibles, signaling the importance of her friendship with Luna Snow. In the main Marvel 616 timeline, Amy Han is the last of the Kumiho, a mystical Korean dokabi who hunts by seducing men to tear out their hearts. Trained by her mother and grandmother to hide her true form, Amy navigated a world that hunted her kind almost to extinction before being recruited by South Korea's National Intelligence Service and eventually becoming the director of its superhuman response team, the Tiger Division, under the superhero alias White Fox. Over the years, she has faced everything from street gangs and rogue Kumiho to cosmic threats. She's traveled across alternate dimensions with the Ultimates and led South Korean heroes during major events like the War on the Realms alongside Crescent and Luna Snow. Combining her abilities with tactical leadership, Amy has proven herself as a formidable operative both solo and in a team, while her alliances with heroes like Domino and Ghost Spider and encounters with mystical forces such as Agatha Harkness showcase her adaptability in both human and superhuman conflicts. The in-game references position White Fox as a strong candidate for introduction, especially given her ties to the Agents of Atlas. With her abilities as a Kumiho, Amy could serve as a DPS character in the game, with potential for unique mechanics that include stealth, agility, and even animalistic or mystical attacks. The combination of her rich history, connections to other playable characters, and recent in-game references make White Fox one of the most intriguing candidates for future additions to the roster. Lastly, we will talk about one of the leading theories for potential Season 5 and 5.5 content, based on the final gallery card of Season 4 involving Gambit and Rogue. In the final gallery card of Season 4 titled Raising the Stakes, Shou-Lao receives a message from the Grand Master, stating that he will not be able to attend the Shenlong tournament due to complications with a recent event involving the Collector, potentially hinting at Season 5's location or theme. More importantly, the Grand Master gives Shou-Lao a unique playing card, which he believes is infused with Shou-Lao's chi, and the final remarks of the message read, "I do hope that you have plans to keep these heroes in line. Should they decide to deviate from the rules, they have a tendency to do so, I've found. And if you play your cards right, and they don't drain every last bit of your life force, I may make an appearance at your next tournament, myself." This remark seems to directly reference the powers of Gambit and Rogue, implying that the Grand Master or Collector may have recently crossed paths with both heroes, potentially setting up the conflict and characters of Season 5. While this remains speculative, it is currently the leading theory among fans. For those unfamiliar with the duo, Gambit, also known as Remy LeBeau, is a mutant with the ability to charge inanimate objects with kinetic energy, creating explosive results. He often uses playing cards as portable weapons. Initially an enemy of the X-Men due to his ties to the Thieves Guild and later to Mr. Sinister, Gambit was eventually redeemed by Storm and joined the X-Men. Over time, he developed a complicated romance with fellow mutant Rogue, and the two eventually married. Rogue, whose real name is Anna Marie LeBeau, possesses the uncontrollable ability to absorb the energy, abilities, memories, and even personality of anyone she touches. Originally a runaway adopted by Mystique and Destiny, Rogue's powers manifested traumatically when a first kiss put a boy into a coma. She was initially a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and believing Miss Marvel would bring tragedy into her life, she accidentally absorbed Miss Marvel's powers and psyche permanently in a confrontation. This traumatic experience ultimately led her to seek help from Charles Xavier, joining the X-Men and becoming one of their most loyal and courageous members. Eventually, Gambit and Rogue, together, would establish a sanctuary in the Louisiana Bayou to provide asylum and guidance for young mutants. In Marvel Rivals, Gambit would likely be classified as a duelist, relying on ranged projectile damage and agility, and his bow staff for close-range melee, reflecting his signature card-throwing and kinetic energy abilities. Rogue, however, offers more flexibility. While many might assume her primary ability is absorbing powers, making her a strategist similar to Loki, her permanent acquisition of Miss Marvel's superhuman strength and flight could allow her to function as a vanguard, giving her a frontline combat presence. Together, Gambit and Rogue would make a compelling pair on any roster, combining tactical ranged offense and adaptive strength-based capabilities. As Season 5 draws closer, more hints will likely emerge regarding these characters' roles and interactions, but for now, Gambit and Rogue remain an exciting and highly anticipated prospect for future content. And there you have it. 13 potential heroes who could join Marvel Rivals' growing roster based on subtle references scattered throughout the game. But let me ask you, what do you think about these picks? What roles or powers do you imagine they might have? If you want to see the series continue, leave a comment below with your thoughts and let me know if there are any heroes I might have missed. They just might make it into the next one. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and I hope to see you, like always, out there in the multiverse.